Hey guys, welcome to the Tech of Things podcast. We are rolling into season 2. This will be our first episode of season 2. We're kind of going to try to do things differently this time, be a little bit more organized. Jake has to go on a hunting trip next week, so hopefully he gets us a big one.
Hopefully. Keyword, hopefully.
And I am out of town, but I usually work out of hotels anyway, so that's not much different. But this time around, we pre-recorded this episode. I've finally got my green screen behind me, so I got the cool images. Hopefully, Jake.
Yep. Cool images are working today. Finally.
Excellent. So, kind of talking about give a season 1 recap. We were kind of all over the place.
Very all over the place.
Yeah, we were very all over the place, kind of trying to figure things out. But now we've got a little bit of an idea of where we want to go. So season 2 is going to be all about the tech of computers. So we're the Tech of Things podcast. So kind of like that season title thing, the tech of whatever we're going against. So season 2 is now going to be the tech of computers. And so each episode will kind of be, episode 1, the one we're on right now, is going to be, we're going to go after the history of the tech that is computers. And then season 2, or episode 2, we're going to go into the modern tech. And then we'll probably, season 3, we might end up going back in and talking about...
Season 3.
No, not episode 3. I'm kind of giving them a layout of at least our first 4 episodes. So episode 3, we might end up going back and touching on the peripherals, the tech behind the peripherals. If our last episode of season 1 was gaming peripherals, so we might actually come back around full send and talk on the tech behind, the peripherals, the mechanical keyboards, the RGB, those kinds of things. Even with the RGB of your internal PC parts that if you build your own PCs. So we'll kind of touch on that. I think that'll be a pretty cool episode once we get there. But to get there, we need to talk about where we started, where PCs kind of started. So that's what we're going to go into today. I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to touch on. There's one more thing I wanted to touch on. The Tech of Things podcast is trying to tackle something crazy, and to do that, I'm not going to give away the surprise yet. But to do that, we are in need of an experienced C++ programmer. We have kind of thrown an idea together, and on top of the podcast, we are in the midst of building something, but we need a C++ programmer. Jake and I can kind of fumble our way through some things.
I know how to add buttons and titles and stuff inside Visual Studio and make them generally work. That's all I know. I'm so very.
So we're in the market for I wouldn't really say market because we can't pay you.
Right.
But if anybody who wants to work on a project that in the end could be either catastrophic or turn out very, very well, just would like to see if you would donate your time, and by the end of it all, hopefully make something.
Yeah.
But so I just wanted to put that out there to the world, and hopefully, if you are a programmer and know anything about C++,
join our Discord.
Message us on Discord,
which will be linked down in the description.
Or find us on Facebook. I think the email's on Facebook as well. So find us out find us and then ask us what we're getting into, and we might be able to
tell you.
Yeah, wouldn't be able to hire you, but we'll definitely bring you on the team.
Oh yeah.
if you're looking for a little side project, um, that could potentially pay well, by the end of it all.
Yeah.
So there's that. Moving on,
Yeah.
we should kind of get into, Jacob. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on from season one? Um,
Not
we're
really.
kind of using this time right here as like our typical hot tech, but we're kind of using it as like a season one recap moving into season two. Um, so
The only thing I can think of is some stuff might be redesigned. Maybe depends on how much time I have during hunting to maybe redesign some stuff, add some stuff, remove some stuff, fix some stuff for
yeah,
our for over the
some
release.
redesigned graphics would be pretty cool. Moving into season two, we'll definitely be doing another game night. That was a big hit. Was our game night. Might be Among Us again, or whatever the hot game of the time may
Which
be.
of which we can both afford, because some of us are don't exactly have a job.
Yeah. So we can definitely get after another game night, season one. Hopefully, coming soon, you'll have our blooper reel from from season one. That should be pretty funny.
There's gonna be a lot
Um,
of bloopers.
yeah, should be a good blooper reel from season one. But season two, be prepared for more because we aren't perfect. Um, so Jake, I know we kind of talked on topics, season two, the PC build
Yes,
that we
our
talked
PC
about
build.
in, we're waiting on one more part that
No,
should have. Oh,
that's
it
it
arrived today.
arrived yesterday actually. At
Perfect.
least I think it did. I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone to look. But yeah, it did arrive yesterday, I believe. So come by hopefully episode 4, our PC will be built. I'll be building it right here behind my green screen because it'll just be easier. So yeah, PC build coming soon.
We'll do a little. We'll do a montage of the PC build and
Talk
like
about it. Talk over it.
yeah, do it. We'll do kind of like um a voiceover of the PC build. So that'll be a pretty cool episode coming, episode 4. So 4 weeks from, so probably over Christmas break.
Yeah. That would
Will be that
actually be
the,
cause one,
the Thursday before
two,
or the
three.
Thursday after Christmas, I believe.
Right before. It'll be happening Christmas Eve actually.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
depending on
Um,
what you're doing, Zach, we might just have to pre-record that as well. Depends on what all we're doing.
yeah. We'll have to see what that looks like. But all right. Well, moving on into the tech of computers, episode 1, history. So Jake, take it away. I know you wanted to start out on talking about
Woo!
the history
I
of
love
computers.
history of computers. I'll just go and put that out there. It's very fun. My hat's not staying on for some reason. It's a little too small now. So to start off our episode here, we need to like define the computer so we kind of have like what we need to look at. Which I've kind of defined it as basically an electronic device that has the ability to store, retrieve, and process digital data, as well as can be programmed with a series of different instructions, whether it be running commands or whatever. So, according to this definition, the first true computer to me would be the ENIAC. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. I doubt that I am, but whatever. Which is an abbreviation for electronic numerical integrator and computer. Which was the first high-speed computer, which came out. I actually forgot to put that into my notes, which is just awful. I'm really bad at this. Which was designed in the 1940s. Around like 46, 45, around then.
So basically, cutting you off a little bit, Jake,
all
but
good.
basically, um, aside from that, there were the the base computers. What was considered a computer was almost basically a calculator.
Right.
It was the beginning stages of a computer it was generally just a calculator, being able to
Right.
process numbers.
Um, process numbers and process more numbers. That's that's really what the original computers were calculators. Um, but for the time, it was the first high-speed electronic-only digital computer. And it could be programmed and reprogrammed, but it was absolutely huge. Each of its panels were 8.5 feet high, 3 feet long, and if you line them all up, they'd be about 80 feet long. And took up about a 680 square foot room and weighed over 300 or 30 tons. I'm really struggling today.
Yeah, so
Um,
basically, what we consider a server farm now is the space that took up one
right.
computer.
Here is a picture from it. You can see server rack there. I can't actually see my mouse for some reason. But there's a server rack there by the guy plugging something in. Can't tell. And there's multiple racks of it there.
Yeah,
Um,
so in that image, that's not a server rack. That's
that's
all the
PC.
moving parts to one computer.
Right. Um, which and it could be reprogrammed by the machine operator. And to do that, you would have to unplug cables, flip some switches, on the multiple sides of the ENIAC. Who's calling me? Okay. Don't care. Um, just got another virus update from some like mandatory alert or something. Moving on. um, which was done by moving the cable switches, etc., on the sides of the panels there. Which doing that was really advanced for when it came out, being 1946. But to do it, it was a very long, lengthy, boring progress because you had to start with an idea, turn it into a chart, followed by a detailed engineering design, and finally the really long, boring process of actually rewriting it. And in the army, when they used the ENIAC, they had 6 computers. These were actually women, whose job was to change over 3,000 electrical switches on the ENIAC, which can be seen here. That is them changing stuff over. So yeah, that's kind of like the ENIAC bit. But then I would like to kind of need to Zach, you talk or something.
Yeah, so basically, that first iteration, the massive size of it, kind of continued throughout, a couple years. They didn't really get much smaller. They got a little bit more sleeker in the design of them.
And
And let's see,
slightly quicker, slightly cooler to use.
yeah. And
Whenever
by the mid 1950s, there was actual like direct keyboard input.
okay, right.
Yeah, so by 1956 was the first direct keyboard input.
So about 10 years after ENIAC came out.
Yeah. And then moving into um, a couple of different companies started, a couple of different companies started making them. RCA, IBM, Sage, couple different manufacturers started building their own style of these massive computers. Um, and then once you get down in here, a couple years, probably. Um,
Zach, tell me whenever you're ready for your image.
Getting there.
Right.
So the first kind of like desktop one almost looked like a typewriter with a mini fridge sitting on top of the desk. I don't have an image for that, but that was HP. And so 1966, HP introduces the HP 2116A. That is the one I'm talking about. If you wanted to kind of
Hang
Google
on.
that at home.
It is the what HP what?
HP 2116A.
2116. Arrow keys aren't working apparently.
Yeah. So that
Oh
was
my
basically,
gosh.
yeah. So it's basically the desktop computer. I mean, it takes quite. I mean, when I say desktop, it takes up the entire desk.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm
But
seeing.
moving,
Oh, man, that's
you know,
crazy.
there wasn't there from that point from 1966 on to like the 1980s. There wasn't a whole lot of. I mean, there were small upgrades from time to time, but the
Right.
biggest one I wanted to move to was the first Mac.
Okay,
That
I will find that
um,
image. Hang on.
so
Oh,
that
also hang on. That is the uh
kind of schematic there
yeah.
for
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that.
which one? Which one's that for? That was for the ENIAC?
Yep, ENIAC. But there's also something called Moore's theory, sorry, Moore's law, which is basically for every microprocessor, it'll get smaller and more powerful, every 2 years, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can see right there if you go back to that chart, you can see right there it goes from basically from 1970 and you've got, a handful up until the 80s, and then they start to become uh more designed,
Right.
more
Okay.
frequent of the design.
So basically, transistors came around, which is basically it's basically a semiconductor used to amplify or switch electronic signals, which are smaller, cooler, and more reliable than the vacuum tube, which is what the ENIAC originally used. They're also a lot cheaper than Gordon Moore, who then later became the co-founder of Intel. Moore figured out that the number of transistors that could be cheaply placed on a circuit board was increasing exponentially, doubling roughly every 2 years. So basically, that really kind of shows it there.
Yeah.
In our
So
chart.
kind of moving forward, the first then this isn't my image yet, Jake, but the first no, we're not to my image
Okay.
yet, but the first computer that actually had a monitor going off of this timeline that I found was the Xerox PARC, PARC Alto. It was the first one that kind of had a monitor. And then Apple does what it does, and a couple years later makes everything better.
Right.
So come 1984, now you can show my image. It was the first Mac, the first generation Macintosh.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that was the first generation Macintosh. It was in 1984.
And it's running what appears to be Apple Paint. I'm the off-brand of MS Paint.
Yep.
Or is that
Um,
Photoshop? I can't tell.
It's hard to tell with the age of that thing.
Right. It's a really old painting program that someone had really, really good writing skills in it.
So it was actually introduced in a commercial during the 1984 Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
The price for this thing was $2,500.
Now, what does that convert to now?
Oh, it would be like at least 10 grand.
And you said this happened in what year?
1984. I'm betting
2020
at least
USD.
10 grand on the comparison to price from then till now.
Okay, I'm going to a inflate. So it was 2,500.
Yep.
Start year 1984 and year 2020. $6,265
Okay, so not as bad
and
as what I
35
thought.
cents. That is a 4.32% inflation.
So yeah, then so after Apple launches the Macintosh, then a couple of years down the road, there's um, the next year, a place called PCs Limited is founded, which was actually founded by Michael Dell, and he
That
quit
name
college.
that name sounds familiar.
Yep. So Dell was actually PCs Limited, creating computers, and then not too long after that, it was renamed to Dell.
All right. Makes sense
So
because once a business is successful, you will name it name it after yourself.
exactly. But then after that, 90 or 86, you see a lot more 86, 87, 88. You see a lot more compacted designs of computers with monitors and mouses and keyboards. Um, from a couple different companies. Um, Compaq was a company that's not even around anymore. Um, the Amiga 1000. Um, uh, the Amiga 1000 was actually oriented more towards music production. You
All
could
right.
actually plug in. You could plug in a physical keyboard, like piano keyboard. Um,
Really? So
yep.
basically, it would allow for I guess there'll be now present day MIDI control.
Yep. So basically, you'd take the keyboard, you'd play, and it would actually start, transferring it
That's cool.
to yeah to a composition. Um, and then yeah, going down through the years, 88, Steve Jobs, 1988, Steve Jobs unveils the Next Cube, which actually was an Apple product, but it was kind of
Not
um,
Apple. It was
not
Apple,
Apple.
it was, but it wasn't, and it was just like really weird.
So actually, that's funny. This was when Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple in 1985.
Right.
He went out and made his own PC. So then going on to the next one here, my next image, 1989 was the first um, portable Macintosh with a display. Um, which I mean I think is pretty neat. I mean,
Okay, honestly, that thing looks like a giant Nintendo DS.
it does. It really does.
And I love it.
It's pretty slick. And then Mac goes on to compact it down a little bit. I wish I would have got you an image for this, Jake, but in what year was this? 1991, Mac introduces the PowerBook series. Or Apple introduces the PowerBook series of its laptops, which is a little bit more compact. I mean, still pretty bulky and everything else like that.
But a lot smaller. And that's like the first like trackpad almost.
Yeah, it was a trackball. They hadn't
Or
quite
yeah.
figured out the trackpad yet, but the trackball.
But then
And
it looks like the PowerBook G3 had the trackpad.
okay, yeah, and then from there, after 91, things really start cranking out high volume. The Apple ships its first Newton, which is like a Palm Pilot almost, like a message pad, like a doodle pad almost for the average person wouldn't have that, but the business owner, guys on Wall
So
Street,
okay.
that's kind of what they're using. That was in '93. But then it keeps going and building from there. And then everybody's on the mobile device race,
Right.
getting laptops and the slickest one, the slickest looking one, I think from pre 2000s, was the Sony Vaio series. Um, was kind of the slickest looking one there. Um, and those when they had that little compact little rubber button in the middle of the keyboard that acted as the trackball, but it wasn't actually
Yeah.
a ball. It was a rubber button. That was a rubber directional pad thing. I mean, it was tiny. I remember, and I think Lenovo's ThinkPads, some of them still use that.
All right. Yeah. My mom, we actually still do actually have a Vio, and it's like one of like the older Vios as well.
Yeah,
Like,
so in 1996 was the first generation Vio.
all right, mine's definitely a lot newer than that. I think we got it probably like, I don't know. It's been around for a while.
But yeah, that was running. It was running it was running a Windows 95. Wow, wow. But yeah, so that's kind of where things went, and then come 2000s, the end of the age of the internet is kind of what I like to
And
call it.
then the what was like the like smaller like blue desktop Mac? Completely forget what it was. It was like early to mid 2000s.
Early to mid 2000s from Mac.
Yeah. It was
Um,
blue and it basically looked like a triangle.
I do not actually have that here. I don't know to be. That was the first generation. That was the iMac.
Okay, yeah.
You
And
could get them actually. You could get them in blue. You could get them in different colors. Blue,
really
red, green, orange, or purple.
awesome. Okay, and then update on the Vio 2008 is whenever we got the Vio.
Got your bio. Yeah. So that the iMac came out. That iMac we were talking about,
Yeah.
1998.
Wow.
Yeah. And then post that, in 2002.
Yes.
And yeah,
That's totally it. That's awesome.
Yeah, in 2002, there was something called Earth Simulator. Was generally the world's fastest supercomputer. And again, basically looks like a server farm, but it's one computer with the super powered memory.
Good
and
at
things like
images.
that. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. That's great, dude. These like older PCs are just cool.
They are. I kind of miss the nostalgia. I mean, my first home computer was a Gateway. Was a
Okay.
Gateway computer. I remember going to the Gateway store and picking it out and being there with my parents and getting it and being there forever and testing all the computers and that they
Yeah.
had there and whatnot. Um, but yeah, no, it's cool to kind of go back, come back through things and look at
Like
it and see what's been happening. A big move here in 2005. The Arduino starter kit. It's kind of like the build your own computer kind of thing. Basically it was a starter kit for basic wiring, which was
all
pretty
right.
cool. That was back in 2005. Um,
Oh, okay. Dude, I missed so much stuff. Like
yeah, there's just so much because once you hit 2000s, literally there's multiple things. Things became
Right.
kind of outdated in a year.
Oh yeah, dude. So I was born like late. I was born late 2005. So
Yeah,
I'm missing all of this stuff because I just wasn't there for it, and it's like so sad because it's like I would have been like I would have loved to like see all of this like old tech that like
no, it's
you know
it's crazy to look at
20
it and
years
see.
ago was state of the art.
Yeah. Um. Um. Where was I here? Yeah, 2005. IBM acquires Lenovo, and then
Okay,
IBM
right.
starts cranking out computers and designing computers and making them smaller and doing things like that.
Because what else would they do? It's
Yeah,
IBM.
I'd want to say Lenovo has been it's not talked about much, but it's a fairly decent competitor to Dell.
Yeah,
Um,
I that was my first laptop
yeah.
was a Lenovo. Um and then here recently I upgraded to a Dell VioBook.
Okay. Um,
Or something like that.
I don't realize it's been that long, but the very first MacBook Air, the slimmest, sleekest computer you could get, the MacBook Air, was 2008. So that's
Wow.
when that's kind of where we're at now. Is come 2008 to now. I mean, everything's been getting better and faster, but there hasn't
Right.
been really much of a design
And yeah,
change.
like I just googled it. I'm going to Google MacBook Air 2008 and I'm going to go to a regular like current day MacBook Air. There's
There's
like wow, there's like zero difference.
No, there's not. There's the 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 pieces just get smaller and better. Like
Right.
your
And
processors and
faster.
your CPUs and everything just get faster.
Again,
For
Moore's
the
law.
same size. Yep. Yep.
It's
So
same concept.
yeah. So and then once you get into like you get into the 2010s. The just the 2010s, the Retina displays, and now in 2011 you've got learning thermostats and things like that. Just
Ooh.
the tech, just we're kind of getting off the computers, but just they kind
Moving
of all kind of tie in just because of the tech.
right.
The first iPad released in 2010.
Really? It was only 2010?
Yeah, 2010. They released the Retina display on the iPhone, um, and then um, the the Apple iPad, um, and then um, and then kind of keeping moving. Raspberry Pi. Have you ever gotten your hands on one, Jake?
I have not yet. I really want to though.
I have one laying around here in my office somewhere at some point in time. I've had because we were going to do some development on it for work, and I have one somewhere. I'll have to find it, and maybe we can do an episode on a Raspberry Pi. 'Cause
All
I think
right.
like that would be something cool to look into. Um,
Sounds good.
um, but yeah, so just seeing where we started to where we are now. I mean, everybody has, almost everybody has a computer
You're
nowadays,
probably
or
watching this on a computer.
yeah, and basically now, your phone can do almost as much as a computer can.
Right.
Um, so just kind of the rundown of the history of the computers. I mean,
This was a fairly
I'm
short
glad.
episode.
Yeah, it will be a fairly short episode. But the history, it doesn't take us long to kind of go through. I mean, we could spend days on breaking down each era of the computer.
Yeah.
But I feel like a short overview is pretty nice. I don't want to get too much into where we're at now because we're next episode we're going to kind of talk about today's processors, today's CPUs, motherboards, just all of the PC parts. And we kind of went over in the PC build episode, but go into more detail and spend more time breaking it down, where we're not rushed to try to build, having to build out and stay under a price.
Right.
But we can just kind of talk about more of the specs of kind of what you should have now, and that's kind of where we want to go with on episode 2. And but just seeing things nowadays from where it started, where they took up almost a 700 square foot room.
I would love to like work on like one of those.
Oh, you'd be so frustrated in minutes.
I know that I would, but I would just love to do it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to just see them, to see one. I don't know if there's one, still in still available to even look at. I'm sure there's one at a museum somewhere. But now going from almost needing a 700 square foot room to be able to have the power on your wrist, breaking it down to get to the Apple Watch, in your smartwatches. It amazes me. But yeah, no, I know. Is there one still? You have that face.
Hey guys, editor's note, this is the end of the episode, but the next few minutes is me and Zach talking about the ENIAC. If you don't want to watch that, you can go and log off here. We hope that you had an amazing Thanksgiving. See you next week, December 10th at 8:55 p.m. for a live episode. Hope to see you there, and we'll see you later. Bye. I might be able to... Hang on.
Oh boy. Jake's getting us some good information.
You keep looking.
I'd almost imagine that there's one down in DC at a museum.
Where's the ENIAC now? It's at the computer hit. Is it actually there?
Speak words, Jake. Where's it at?
I think it might actually be at the Computer History Museum.
In DC?
I don't know. Computer History Museum. Out in California.
Oh.
That's sad.
What town in California?
Mountain View. Let me pull up Google Maps real quick. Okay. Yeah, it's down towards San Jose. It's down towards the lower part of the San Francisco Bay.
Okay. Well, my wife has family out there.
Really?
Kind of near San Francisco. Wow, I was actually. Okay. Well, if I ever get out to California in that area to go see family, I will definitely have to make my way. I'll definitely have to make my way.
It's not saying anything about it. Come on.
So, she has family in Galt. So how far away is that from Galt? If I can get there.
Doesn't say anything about if it's there. What the?
Oh, I'm sure it's there.
For them to have this much info on it, it has to be there.
Yeah. So if I ever make it back out to California to go see family, it's only an hour and a half away from.
Really awesome.
From her family. So.
It is there.
It is there.
It is.
Well, maybe when I get out there, I'll get a trip and get some video of it.
Dude, because they have the first calculators, the first punch cards, analog computers, birth of the computer, first early computer companies, real-time computing, mainframe computers,
Nice. Excellent.
art of programming, memory and storage. They probably go over, what's his face? The von Neumann, architecture stuff under memory and storage.
Cool. Well, road trip.
Dude, I would totally fly out there.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, that is all we've got really for the history this week. I know we had to kind of cut the episode a little short this week, but stay tuned for next week, and we will get into modern day computer tech and what it means and what you want and what you want to have. Especially if you're looking into doing a build, we will go in a little bit more in depth. I know we kind of did, we kind of rushed quick through and talked about some things on the PC build episode, but we'll touch back on it and get a little bit more in depth. So Jake, episode 2 is modern day computer tech. The tech of the modern day computer. So we'll get into that. Next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Learned our little history lesson here. We kind of really didn't give much specs on the old computers, but
I couldn't find anything on them. Like, I couldn't find anything. Like, really, all I could find was there was lots of vacuum tubes.
Yeah, a lot of vacuum tubes.
And then more theory.
A lot of memory. A little bit of memory.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of memory or storage spread out over, a lot of hardware.
Right.
That's basically all we can
because
talk
they didn't
about.
have floppy disks or hard drives or SSDs and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so all of that we will kind of touch on next week. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Tune back in next week. And sorry that we had to pre-record this week, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, we will be back live next week, hopefully.
Yep, hopefully so. And again, if you are a C++ programmer,
let us know, like Twitter us or Discord us or Facebook us or something.
Find us some way or somehow.
Yeah, find us because we need you.
We need you. We are tackling something big.
That I don't even know why we're doing it because it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy, but
it's probably gonna happen.
We're gonna make. I'm definitely gonna make it happen. I don't care what I gotta do. We'll make it happen. So, but all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We will see you all next week.
All right. See you guys.